Welcome to Same Day, Different Century. I'm Zach. Today is June 26th. It's 6 o'clock in the morning on June 26th, 1906. The sun is barely up over the French countryside east of Le Mans. Somewhere in the range of 200,000 spectators have gathered from across Europe, many of them sleeping in fields the night before to get a good spot. And 32 machines, enormous, thundering, open-wheeled automobiles, are about to do something nobody has ever done before. They're about to race a Grand Prix. The word Grand Prix is so embedded in racing vocabulary today that it's almost hard to imagine a world without it. Formula One, Monaco, Silverstone, Monza. These things feel like permanent fixtures of the sporting world. But every institution has a birthday. And the birthday of Grand Prix racing is today. To understand why this race mattered, you have to understand what motor racing looked like before it. The dominant international competition in the early 1900s was something called the Gordon Bennett Cup, named after its founder, James Gordon Bennett Jr., an American millionaire and owner of the New York Herald. The Gordon Bennett races were genuinely prestigious. They featured closed road racing among comparable cars, which was a significant step forward from the previous format of essentially unregulated vehicles just driving between cities. Paris to Berlin, Paris to Bordeaux, wide open roads, no controls, and a casualty toll to match. But the Gordon Bennett Cup had a fatal flaw, as far as the French were concerned. Each participating nation was limited to just 3 entries per race. And here's the thing, France was the undisputed global leader in automobile manufacturing. French automakers outnumbered any other nations by a massive margin. The Germans, meanwhile, received 6 entries because Mercedes had an additional factory in Austria. The French were furious. So when France won the 1905 Gordon Bennett race and earned the right to host the 1906 edition, the Automobile Club of France, the ACF, made a bold decision. They walked away from the Gordon Bennett altogether, and in its place they built something new. The Grand Prix of the Automobile Club of France. Their race, their rules, their format. Any manufacturer could enter as many cars as they could build. The only constraint was a weight limit. Cars couldn't exceed 1,000 kilograms. Other than that, there were no limitations. A combined offer from the City Council of Le Mans and local hoteliers to contribute funding persuaded the ACF to hold the race on the outskirts of the city, where the Automobile Club of Sarthe devised a 103-kilometer circuit. That's a 64-mile loop of public roads, a rough triangle running through the towns of La Ferté-Bernard, Saint-Calais, and Vibré before looping back toward Le Mans. Where the route would have passed through the larger villages, temporary wooden bypasses were constructed. The intent was to avoid the horrific spectator casualties that had plagued previous point-to-point races. The roads had been treated with tar to manage the dust, but extreme heat on race day, reaching over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, melted the tar and caused it to adhere to tires. The conditions were brutal. 10 first aid posts staffed by over 20 doctors treated hundreds of cases, mostly heat-related injuries and eye damage from the dust. The flag dropped at 6 a.m. on June 26, 1906. The 32 cars set off at 90-second intervals. Fernand Gabriel in a Lorraine Dietrich was supposed to start first, but his engine stalled and he wasn't able to restart before it was time for Vincenzo Lancia in a Fiat to get going. The race churned through its opening laps in a spectacular, chaotic mess of dust and noise. By the end of lap 3, a Hungarian driver in a Renault, a man named Ferenc Sis, had worked his way to the front, and he stayed there. Here's what made Sis's Renault different from most of the competition, and it came down to a piece of technology that sounds almost mundane today, the detachable wheel rim. Michelin had developed detachable rims that allowed for dramatically quicker tire changes. On a standard car, swapping a tire on a 1906 racing machine was an agonizing, back-breaking ordeal. With the Michelin system, it was comparatively fast. Over the course of a 769-mile race on roads that shredded tires, that time difference compounded lap after lap into a significant advantage. Clement, one of the lead Clement Bayer drivers, had a car without the detachable rims, and it was thought that this contributed to Nazzara's Fiat passing him on the second day as he was forced to stop for conventional tire changes. Because this wasn't a one-day race, after lap 6 of the 12 total laps, the cars were placed into what the French called parc fermé. Secured overnight, mechanics were forbidden from major work. The drivers went to sleep, the spectators camped out, and on the morning of June 27th, they all came back to do it again. Cees won, finishing 32 minutes ahead of Nazaro's Fiat. Third place went to Albert Clement in his Clement Bayard. The total race time for Cees was just over 12 hours combined across the 2 days. His average speed across those 769 miles was approximately 62 miles per hour. Out of the 32 cars that started the race, only 11 completed it. The rest, more than half the field, retired due to mechanical failure, crashes, or the punishing conditions of the road. Competitors paid an entry fee of roughly £200, and in many cases the total cost of building and running a racing car reached as high as £10,000. The winner walked away with 45,000 French francs, worth somewhere in the range of $300,000 today. The success of the 1906 race prompted the ACF to run the Grand Prix again the following year, and prompted the German automobile industry to organize a comparable event in 1907. That momentum never stopped. The ACF Grand Prix became an annual institution. The institutions multiplied, and the organizational structures created around the 1906 race became the skeleton of international motorsport as we know it. The direct descendant of the Grand Prix is the modern international Formula One series, and that 2-day format, spread across a closed circuit near Le Mans, also inspired the endurance race that would one day become one of the most iconic events in all of sport, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Think about that the next time you watch a Formula One race. Every time a driver slots into pole position, every time a pit crew executes a tire change in 2.5 seconds, every time a Grand Prix crowd fills a grandstand at Monaco, Monza, or Silverstone. You are watching something that was born on a dusty French road at 6 o'clock in the morning on June 26, 1906. A Hungarian driver in a French car, 12 hours of racing across 2 scorching summer days, and 2 words, Grand Prix, that would echo for more than a century. That same day, different century. I'm Zach. We'll be back tomorrow with another date, another story. Thanks for listening.